back with our philosophy, or like our anime philosophy, and we got our final 3 questions that we want to hit you guys with. Still, guys, I got Ordinary Fellow Jay. We're having a whole lot of fun. I don't think we laughed like this in a while. Yeah. we need this laughs in the pandemic, you know.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah,
good Lord, man.
Yeah. So right now we've dealt with the enigma of the day, which was what makes anime timeless. We dealt with what made the perspectives of anime very unique. We've dealt with what types of stories had a great impact on us. We've dealt with characters, in particular, that we like. We both said Vegeta, which I think that is fair because Vegeta was lit. He still is lit, but he's getting ate up by Maro right now. Let's not even get into that. But let's not even get into that. Toriyama hates Vegeta. So we're going to question 4. What philosophy or worldview do you believe anime tackle better than any other nation or any other type of cinema or genre?
It's going to be a toss up between forgiveness and redemption.
Okay.
Like in terms like forgiving somebody who no matter what they did and still seeing the value in them. Like we could take we can go to One Piece. Look at Nami. Look, she's a thief. She meant a lot of that.
She
stuff.
robbed their suckers, man. She took their ship.
Don't get me wrong. She's had horrible things happen to her in her life. I know that she was under some pressure. Some screws were on her, but at the same time, it was like their life or mine. She was a thug with her. So let's just be clear about that.
She was.
But the thing that broke her and changed her, if I want to get religious about it, saved her, was the fact that not only would Luffy forgive her for her many, many, many sins, but that he would fight on her behalf and then free her from the bondage that she was in at personal cost, that he would put his own life at risk. And maybe even lay his own life down and die for her.
Which he almost did.
And so for her, and she was just wanting somebody to see past all her stupidity, all her foulness, all her ratchetness, to see all the way down to the core, see value that she couldn't even see.
Yeah. That's fact.
And so I can't think of very many other genres of stuff like that, because I can't think of very much, even just in our own context, that I've watched over the course of the years that handles it that thoroughly, that handles it that emotionally.
We stuck at Forgiveness Story because we have to have the man and the woman get together at the end. You already know I'm telling the truth. We have to. I mean, like, if they could rewrite Jesus' story, they would make Mary Magdalene his wife, which is false. If you do research, you will understand it as utter foolishness. And but we're not gonna get into that. But yeah, like if they could rewrite it, he had to have his woman in the end. Really? What has Walt Disney done to y'all? You know? Walt Disney is
teach you that it's okay to be a sex offender. Teach you that it's okay to take girls from their home.
On the real, like this is a sex
to kiss a strange woman that you don't even know without her consent while she's asleep.
On the real, we're gonna take a quick brief trip into the foolishness of Walt Disney. And this was like wrong in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. So he's without excuse. You got Snow White. Okay, Snow White and 7 dwarves, so she staying with 7 men, and nobody has anything to say about that. She then bites a poisonous apple, and this sucker just comes smelling on her while she's knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Like literally smelling like just smelling like oh, she smells good. Let me go and get it. I'm going to pay that plan.
You can tell Walt Disney was holding back so hard to keep from drawing him as a cartoon wolf. Stop. I
mean, this dude.
Charming is a sex offender.
This dude pretty much was. I mean, that apple was the equivalent of the roofie. And it's like this dude just like literally just and just like and then you go to Sleeping Beauty, and Sleeping Beauty I actually did like Sleeping Beauty, but the older I got I was like, oh, there's something wrong with this, But just even Sleeping Beauty, you know, like the girl, you know, like the thumbnail. It was a thumb. I forget the name of the thing. It was a spindle or something like that. She got pregnant. She got knocked out. And the prince, you know, the prince
on the spinning wheel, she pricked her
spinning wheel, you know, pricked her finger and then put her to sleep, you know, like whatever. But you know, like she, you know, the whole situation with homeboy just scrapping to get up there. Now, I do appreciate that as a man for that particular part, because it really did show the tenacity that this man wanted to find a way to protect this girl. I did appreciate that. Now the problem comes in that once again, I don't know why Walt Disney did this, but like just sniffing all over.
Look, man, if you were to take those things out of the 20s and 30s and bring them into the modern era, like Benson and Stabler from SVU would have been all over those dudes. Benson and Stabler would have been all over those dudes.
I mean, like
these Prince Charmings are sex offenders, bro.
Yeah, facts. I mean, like the only Prince Charming that gets off the hook is Cinderella's Prince Charming. Like homeboy, at least, like he was like, I got a protocol for figuring out who the one is. I gotta give him props. He's the cleanest one that they got. The you know, but outside of that, man, no, these suckers, man, trash.
They are bad
right?
people.
So, trash, right? So now saying that Japan is not innocent, Lord knows they are not.
They got their fair share of stuff going on.
Fan service is a thing. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely have a lot that's wrong on their side too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not releasing them. But thematically, that's across the board on everything. Like everybody has their own particular style. Like, you don't see that. You don't see every single animator doing that. I think it's become more, which is like been my grieving in a newer wave of anime, that fan service is now just a requirement. And I'm like, that was never required for anime to be good. Ever. You know, like you didn't need that in every single anime for it to be great. You know, like certain ones kind of make sense, but it wasn't really needed. Like it was just literally just fan service. So, you know, keep it to the minimum. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Focus on the story. Make sure that the story sticks and not just a girl with her behind out, and so that other girls can dress up in cosplay with their behinds out. It's like I got a whole lot to say about cosplay culture, but I'm gonna leave that alone for a whole nother episode. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I think that for them, like you said, forgiveness and repentance. I mean, and redemption.
And redemption, right? Yeah.
So I would say, I would actually go as far as to say, the way to being a chosen one. You know, how they've actually done a very good job at like showing how a person can be the chosen one. I would use a more recent one, which I think we both actually enjoyed, The Rise of the Shield Hero.
Yes.
Yeah, Rise of the Shield Hero has a very controversial start, but it was real. You know what I'm saying? Dude was actually trying to be a good man. And, you know what I'm saying? Like what happened was that, you know, he got caught with his girl. His girl had ill intentions. She said that you know, that dude raped her, and it gave him a bad reputation throughout the whole land. And it just became him being a bitter dude. But in his bitterness, he just kept building. And it was undeniable that he was the one. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, I think is what I think that they really kind of have a masterclass on that. Like they'll tell you who the one is early.
Yeah, they do.
And you're like, huh? Like they leave you without a shadow of a doubt. Like, nah, this the one. And you're like, ain't no way. And then as a story goes, you're like, nah, this sucker gonna be the one. I think Gundam is actually probably one of the better ones to do that as well. Because Gundam, except for Iron Blood, no offense, Iron Blood was trash.
Like me and my brother were just talking about Iron Blood.
Bruh. I mean, like
it hurt so bad because it started off so good.
It started off interesting. It didn't get good for me yet. I remember telling you that. I said it started off interesting to me.
I thought it had potential to sit among the greats. There's a lot of trash Gundam. There's a lot of good Gundam. There's a lot of trash Gundam.
Anything with SD in front of it is trash to me. You know, so just throwing that out there. Like you can fight me for that. I don't care. SD Gundams is trash. Anything chibi to me is trash. That's just a Trevorism. Sorry, but I hate chibi stuff. Like that's why GT to me failed. I was like, how in the world are you gonna make Goku a doggone child again? That makes no sense. But once again, that's a whole nother thing we could go on for an hour about. I'm not gonna do that right now. But as far as like you actually taking the theme of a guy or a girl and you're saying this is the one, And they're like, nah, ain't no way that person's the one. And then they just keep giving you compelling arguments that don't feel forced. You know, like not every time they do this, but you'll get it sometimes where they just really, really knock it out of the park. And you're like, whoa, this sucker is the one. You know what I'm saying? Like I really do enjoy that about the way that they construct their stories, is that they actually have a very clear path on how to make the chosen one. I think like Lucas kind of like benefited from Japanese lore on that with Star Wars. Because he used a lot of samurai lore to craft like the way that the empire and stuff like that was. So and even like the what's Joseph Campbell? I forget his name. It's a Josh. Is it Joseph? I don't know. I forget it. I think it was Joseph Campbell. Was it Joseph Campbell?
What is
he wrote the Hero with 1,000 Faces. The which is actually like a full on. It's a full on book that has the multiple stories of multiple heroes over cultures over the past couple thousand years, and 9 times out of 10 they're written from a shame honor perspective, which is also very different from here because Star Wars in the beginning at least 4, 5, and 6 is very shame and honor.
It is Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, it's Joseph Campbell. Okay, good. I'll make sure I had it right. Yeah, like, but I think it made the Hero with 1,000 Faces, and that's a dope book, by the way. If you want to read, for anybody out there that wants to read like a book that gives you a better perspective on how heroes and myth and legend and stuff like that kind of collided, Joseph Campbell's the Hero with 1,000 Faces is a wonderful book to give you a good perspective on that. But yeah, like you know, stuff like that when you deal with like the archetype for a hero and stuff like that, I think that they really figured it out. And like making you endeared to the hero, putting them through circumstances, they're not making them Gary Stu's and Mary Sue's. You know, they just come in with all this power and they're dang near unmatched, except for like internal conflict, which that to me is like retconning. So the only problem with this story is that you have inner turmoil. That's fun. That sounds like a freaking boring story. Because especially when you don't have anything that can match what you have on the inside, that seems like a very boring story to me. But dealing with that, like Japan has done a very good job at dealing with that in anime and making sure you had a hero that was challenged on all their virtues before they get to the end. Even in Rise of the Shield Hero, I forget the gentleman's. I forget his name. Forgive me, people. But I remember faces mostly and not names. But he was really cold in the beginning, and as the story progresses, his heart begins to melt more. Especially when he gets to see that there were more than one continent. And I don't know how far everybody has gotten. So that's a spoiler alert. That's a post spoiler alert. Apologies. But they find out on the in the Rise of the Shield Hero that every single hero had their own continent, and they were only on one continent, and it wasn't the one where the Shield Hero was the hero. So a lot of the internal conflict in the nation was because they hated the Shield Hero because he was not from there. He wasn't a hero for them, and that's why in their particular church and stuff in that particular story, why the Shield Hero was the villain, because he wasn't supposed to be a part of their story. But when he left and went to the quote unquote old country, and he was received like a god almost, because he is the king. The Shield Hero was a king of his own continent. And then they found out that the game was bigger than they thought, that they thought it was happening in one place, but all the incidents were happening all over the planet. And how there
are other heroes from other
exactly
places.
Yeah. Like that there was literally, it was opened up all over the planet, and that what they thought they were doing well, they were actually quite trash in. And then they're like, well, if we're this trash right now and we can't even defend our own continent, what the world are we? That is more than just me saying, oh, I can't climb this mountain because I'm not good enough. Or I can't beat this guy, not because he's better than me, but because I haven't really trusted the abilities I have in myself. That's I can't beat this guy. Let me get better. You know what I'm saying? I think that they've done a masterclass on giving us characters that they have come from the bottom that's like clawing the way to the top. Luffy right now in a 1-0 arc. Finally, just to end on this for this particular question, he couldn't beat Kaido, and he has Sea Prism on, which negates his power, and the whole time he has an internal conflict, not because he can't beat him because he doesn't get himself, because he wasn't strong enough. And he actually said, I'm not strong enough. I'm missing something. when's the last time you've heard a American hero say that about, well, I'm missing something and that's why I cannot beat this, but not, oh well I just have to accept myself to win.
Yeah, we don't believe in we have the philosophy that you already have everything that you need inside. You just need to look inward.
Yeah.
In order to be able to get what you have.
Yeah. So I mean, and
that's a Western philosophy.
The Western philosophy. You know what I'm saying? It's boring. This makes for a boring story. Those stories end fast and they also are forgettable. The you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I thought it was very interesting. You know, like that was they tackle those themes a whole lot better than we do. You know, like and that they also give nuance for racism. Like there's a lot of stories in Japan that deals with racism and classism. You know what I'm saying? Like we've already talked about One Piece and Gundam, but you can go a little bit deeper than that. Can you think of a few more that have dealt with like classism?
Classism. Toward the Terror.
Toward the Terror, yo. Oh my goodness. Oh, Tony.
That's an obscure anime right there.
Oh, bro. I mean, it's crazy that it is though.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It really is. It's.
And the ending is so dark. I mean, I remember I just played the ending back 3 times. I remember hoping that I seen it all wrong. And I was like, there's no way. You know, like just dealing with the fact that this only Japanese people do this. They wouldn't give you a happily ever after. And it was just so dark. I was like, God dang, man, that is crazy. I won't ruin it for people that want to watch it. Definitely go watch Toward the Terror. They have a movie.
It's not the darkest ending, you know, where everybody dies at the end. It's not that kind of dark.
It's not that kind of dark.
They don't put a bow on it. It's just like the legend continues. The journey continues type.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of them joints that like you thought that there was hope. And when you get there, you realize it was a pipe dream. It was a rumor. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't substantiated facts. It was rumor. I was like, dang, man, that is the.
Yep.
I mean, it hurt. I mean, I'm happy for them. And when we get there, I'm like, yo, what the world just happened? And I mean, that sticks with me now. I mean, last time I watched a full series, that was 2010. That's a decade ago. And I still remember that thing. You know, like that's how deep the roots of that story go. But yeah, I mean, like dealing with racism, you know, like and classism and sexism, and you know, like I just think that they actually provide more nuance. Tenchi Muyo is like a doggone handbook on sexism, even though it's kind of contradictory because it's a harem anime, which means that, you know, it's one man and a bunch of women, or one woman and a bunch of men. There's normally like that. And
in this case, these are all women who are either claiming to be his wife or betrothed, or he's betrothed to be married, trying to be the wife somehow.
Yeah, like I mean, this is, but it was interesting because Tenchi never viewed them as property. You know, he didn't even view them as wives. He viewed them as people first. You know, I think like the only time he was truly attracted to a woman, the girl ended up being a villain. It was jacked up. That was Tenchi Muyo in Tokyo. That was rough. I mean, that joint had me in tears, yo, as a young kid. I was happy for him, man. And then she was fake. I was like, oh, bro, look, I was done with Tenchi for like a year. I was like, don't even show me an episode, man. Y'all took his woman away from me, bro. Oh, bruh, that thing hurt, man. I was like, yo, I had never seen Tenchi that happy. Never seen him that happy, and they just snatched it out of his hand. And I was like, man, that's hard. But once again, it was a good lesson though, you know, for him, you know, especially like with his bloodline. But I won't spoil that for nobody if y'all ain't never seen it. You can definitely go back and watch Tenchi Muyo. Yeah, but they dealt with themes a whole lot better than we have. I mean, like any other things you could think of when it comes to like what they tackled better, like as far as worldviews and philosophies.
Worldviews and philosophies. I'm trying because I watch stuff and I be forgetting stuff.
Akira. I throw one at you. Akira.
Oh yeah, Akira. So Akira, that was a really complex. There was so much social commentary going on there. It's talking about the failure of the bureaucratic system and how a nation raises money. It's talking about that and what happens if outcasts manage to get power.
Yep.
There's a segment on there. on not being able to save everyone.
Exactly. I mean, that was the whole end. The whole ending was sometimes you just gotta run.
Sometimes you just gotta run. They dealt with survivor's guilt.
Yes.
Like when a person gets out of the situation that they're in, they dealt with a few things. Like that was a super Akira was a super that's like early cyberpunk stuff right there.
It was.
It really dealt a lot with some of those really, really sticky personal issues. It talked about poverty.
Yes.
And the things that poverty and that poor people are more susceptible to human experimentation than a wealthy person.
Exactly.
That someone just picked off the street can be used for trial drugs. Like there was a whole lot of dark social commentary that was going on with Akira.
Yep. I mean, and I thought it was very interesting, you know, that at the very end that there was an explosion. And how that relates to what happened to them during World War II. And I was like, wow, you know, and they invited us into their world for a moment at this last moment that the only thing they could do was run.
Yep.
And I was like, I mean, I was sitting there watching this this thing came out and man, I would say it was at least late 80s. That was at least late 80s. I think it was.
That's one of those. The movie for that is one of those few things that I told you, like in the previous episode when I got a job and I got my own money and I was ordering movies from the bookstore. The limited edition, special edition Akira. That was like a double stack. That's back when DVD was new. Double stack DVD, like the multi-disc DVD with the whole art booklet and everything like that. I actually had that at one point. I don't know who bought it from me. I think my brother or my dad. Someone bought it from me and has it now. I don't have it anymore. But
I went back and got they had a limited edition Blu-ray, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go and pick this up because I like that's one of those stories. That anime changed the whole game. Like it didn't change a part of it. When that anime was made, anime changed because the themes that they could tackle grew because of that anime. Like before that, you had animes that tackled it, but they wasn't tackling it as hard. You know what I'm saying? So we had Dragon Ball and a couple others before that, you know, that was there. Akira was just different because, like you said, like with the themes and stuff that we saw, it just obliterated the mindset that people would have about the world. Using the cyberpunk, cyberpunk was pretty much smoke screen, kind of like One Piece. Like I said, oh, you thought this is about cyberpunk? Like when you watch Akira, you're like, oh, you thought this is about cyberpunk? That's real cute.
It is powerful. It is a powerful masterclass on. It's one of the most potent masterclasses on power and vulnerability.
Yes.
And talking about poverty and riches and the disparity between social classes. It is a masterclass on that.
Facts.
If you not to get crazy on folks, but like Brian Stevenson from the Equal Justice Initiative has a quote that he said, and he's also presented in his talks to the Supreme Court of the United States before, saying that you are more likely to be judged unfairly if you are poor and innocent than you are if you are rich and culpable.
Facts.
Like, it's the truth. And so Akira was a masterclass, and we're just talking about the movie. We're not talking about the 12 volume, I think it's 12 volumes of thick manga books. We're talking like with 150 pages each one.
Yes.
We're not even talking about going through that and all the detail that the movie
graphic novels.
The graphic
novel manga. They were that thick. Yeah,
they were super thick. Roach killers. Roach killing books. They were. And my brother had my younger brother has half that series of the graphic novel, and it left so much stuff that the movie just did not have time to address, including a different ending than what the movie had.
The movie ending to me was so shocking. You know, like because that was the boy who was experimenting on ended up being the cause of the pain of his own people.
Yes,
that joint hurt. You know, because you think about people who would be willing to do anything to get out of poverty, and they don't normally think that what they're doing would have a profound impact on other people. You know, and how his explosion at the end hurt all his people. I was like, dang, man. I mean, like that was rough. I mean, it was a great commentary. It was like a warning, because I think the year for Akira was actually Akira. It was in 2019. I think I'm right on that. I think it was themed after the year 2019. And if that's the case, I mean, we're only 1 year removed from that, and it was a warning. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, that is powerful. Like that joint's like 30 years old. And it still has a commentary.
You are correct, sir. I'm looking at that right now. Like it was the year 2019. That's when
I was making sure. Like, I thought it was 2019. I like that. Yeah. I thought it was dope. I was like, yo, they actually kind of shot called this. No, they shot called this sucker. I was like, props to you dudes. I mean, they figured it out. They were saying like that themes like that like are happening right now. That's a madness of Akira. Is that Akira is actually almost prophetic. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But yeah, I mean that deserves its own episode. We'll get to that in the future.
It was icon. That's an iconic film right there.
It is.
It's an iconic film.
I mean, you could put that up against most of the cinema we got over here, and it would still stack up. I mean, I say it without reluctancy. I mean, one of the main characters, Kaneda, his bike. They're still redesigning his bike today. In 2020, they're still coming up with versions of that bike, and that bike was originally drawn and designed in 1990. Yeah, it's like 1988 or 1990.
1988. Yeah,
1988. Okay, yeah. That's all. I know it's between the two because I think 1990 was the year that the film came out. I think that's correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. Like, because once again, I didn't catch that until 99. You know what I'm saying? Because like once again, you didn't catch that over here. People over here weren't thinking about Akira. You know what I'm saying? Like you just had to just find it at FYE at the bottom of the back and underneath a bunch of B2K posters. If you don't know who B2K is, you're too young. They're
not worth knowing.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, it's perfectly fine if you don't know who that is, but that's just to let you know. But yeah, so let's go to question 5. So, what obscure characters left an indelible impact on how you perceive the world? We actually did this offline, like this was a couple of days ago. This kind of what spawned the idea for the podcast. So go ahead and talk to me about the ones you gave me.
So okay. So I gave you because I think it started off with a text message of me asking you what are the 3 obscure characters that had an effect on you, and I was like, Tanda from Shinyo Moribito. Who were the others that I said? Let me look at my text message because I don't want to. Because since we've been talking, I was actually able to switch up my the number one, who my number one was. But I'm gonna look at who I said when we were talking about this earlier this week offline. Who did I say? Where are we at? Man, we be having some funny conversations on text.
Yes, we were.
Okay, so I said Tanda from Shinyo Moribito. I said Crown Prince Sagum, who's also from Shinyo Moribito. And I think initially I had said Ashitaka, but then
he's not obscure.
He's not obscure. So then let's see. Oh yeah, and Chihiro / Sen from Spirited Away.
Yes.
Although technically she's not obscure either because like that was Miyazaki's. That's his most internationally well-known. Spirited Away is his most internationally well-known film, and it's the only one of his that won an Academy Award. So yeah. So technically, she's not obscure either. So if I had to replace her, I'd replace her with Soldier Blue from Toward the Terror. That dude, his vision and his patience and his long game and his sacrifice.
Yes,
man,
phenomenal. Yeah, like he I mean, and it's interesting. Like once again, no, I'm gonna let you finish. Tell me why. Tell me why for each one. Why you pick? Like you've already said.
Yeah. So Soldier Blue. Yeah, it's just like I just listed out this man went to sleep for decades. But at a moment's notice, when he realized that they were at a tipping point, and that the next generation that was going to be able to carry his people onto the promised land, that they had a chance of getting snuffed out. He came out and gave the rest of what he had left. We're talking about like his left eye got blown out, like all that stuff. He still gave the rest of his life to give them a fighting chance. He was already the GOAT. He was like even his successor, Jomi, was not as strong as him.
Yes.
Jomi was powerful, super powerful, and second only to Soldier Blue. But like even in this man's sleep, he's still giving them guidance and giving them wisdom, even in his sleep when he suppressed his power and sleep to lengthen his life, to guide them through their pilgrimage. And when he saw that the next generation was going to get snuffed out, he came back from his submersion and he wrecked the enemy. He was like a wild card. They weren't expecting Soldier Blue to pop out, and he wrecked them. And
we also got an origin story on him too. You know, like he wasn't just a random character. We actually got to see him like born, grow, and then go to sleep, then see Jomi.
Yes.
Like so that's what I'm saying. What we're recommending, you know, toward the terror to people, because like that was the 70s.
Let's take a look at the tape. I don't think I've ever looked.
The remake was in like the 2000s, but the original story is from the 70s. So that makes lots of sense. I remember when I approached it, I was like, "This is a 70s story."
78.
Yeah. So it's a 70s story. So it was dealing with how they were trying to find a way to reconstruct their own Terra or their own Earth.
Yeah.
Like their own island. You know, and that I thought that was very, very interesting that they had like people who did rise up, do great things, and they go away.
He was able to see past the political lies. He was willing to take hate even from his own people. He was willing to take all the darkness from both normal people and superpowered people.
Yeah.
He was willing to deal with the racism, all that stuff, and take all those sins into his own body if it meant that the human race could survive. He took on all that burden. So he was a classic savior. He was not a perfect character. He made some decisions that were flawed, but his vision was long game vision and legacy. Jomi was his successor, and he picked him. Yeah. He found him and he picked his own successor to keep the energy going. Yep. So yeah, like I really Soldier Blue, he's up there. Tanda from Shinyo Moribito. So he's a dude who did not fit the standard of the standard traditional sense of what masculinity is. Gets flipped on its head with Tanda because the main character and the protagonist for Shinyo Moribito is Balsa. Mm-hmm. And she's a warrior woman. She's a woman who was raised by a warrior and just happens to have an insane talent for spearmen, for fighting with a spear and for swordsmanship. She's a warrior's warrior. She can beat the best of them. She's excellent. But the person who always took care of her when she got injured, who always scolded her or always gave her words of wisdom to redirect her when she's off, is Tanda. Mm-hmm. If there was anybody who could ever stop her in her tracks and make her do an about face and make her do something else, even under the threat of death, is Tanda. He never backs down from her. Out of all the people she was ever able to beat to the death in a fight, the one person she could never defeat was Tanda. And he was leading her and leading their young charge from a place of quiet service. He worked on his medicine. He got up before dawn. He would even when people were looking for Balsa and coming to the house uttering threats and stuff like that, he didn't run off. He kept the same energy. He kept on doing what he was doing. It didn't matter what kind of danger came to his door. He made sure that his people were taken care of no matter what. He wasn't aggressive with nobody. He was not there hollering at anybody or anything like that. And so he had a very different kind of masculinity. But he took care of his people, and he served with servant leadership. So Tanda was huge. And then Prince Sagum, also from Shinyo Moribito, he was the main character. One of the main characters. Prince Chagum is one of the protagonists. He's the one that Balsa is protecting and trying to get him to his ultimate destiny. And his older brother, Prince Sagum, when the kingdom thought that Chagum was dead, Sagum basically had to take the reins and to get ready to replace their father when it came time for their father to step down from the throne.
Yeah.
And so, but Sogum has a weak constitution. He's got some kind of mysterious illness that they don't know what it is. And then on top of that, his little brother was his whole world. He loved his little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so a combination of the grief and his physical ailments eventually was what took him.
Yeah.
But what that boy did, what that young man did, is that he made sure that the kingdom, acting as the regent for his father, he made sure that the kingdom, even when going through a drought, was set up to be politically stable once they had a chance to recover. He did deals between nations, and he spent time negotiating with other rulers and trying to secure trade routes and trying to do everything that they could, that once the drought was over, that the kingdom could flourish. And he died with a smile on his face. He died having given everything, even and that's like bearing the grief of his brother being dead and not having any hope that he's going to see his brother anymore, and also knowing that he was taking on the burden of the crown prince when it was really supposed to go to his brother because of his weak constitution, and then taking on that role as a leader. He did it without complaint. He did it with humility, and he gave every drop of his life to it, and he died with his work done. That as soon as the drought would be over, the kingdom would be secure because of the work that he put in. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That kind of servant leadership and that kind of sacrifice, even in the midst of tremendous suffering, speaks to me. So those are my three characters and the reasons why.
So my three characters are mostly villains.
That's fine.
because I love villains. But like my first one is Show Tucker. If you don't know who Show Tucker is, get from under a goddamn rock. Show Tucker taught me one of the most valuable lessons I could ever be taught.
He is pure evil.
Yes,
and you know it.
You are. And this is one of the reasons. So Show Tucker was an unassuming man, and he seemed like, especially like in the face of like Hughes. Major Hughes is also a character in Full Metal Alchemist. This is for Full Metal Alchemist, for the people that don't know. Hughes loved his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like it was such a stark contrast. And it's sad to this day. I mean, it's so sad that it became a joke because we have to laugh away the pain from this moment because like the whole sequence of this situation is jacked up.
He's going
yeah, he is. I mean, like so especially with Brotherhood, you saw what Brotherhood did to him, right? What he actually did to himself.
Yeah, he's still going to hell. Like,
yeah, I mean, no facts. There's no coming out of this. He has a daughter named is Nina. Is her name Nina, right?
Oh yeah. His
daughter's name Nina, and they had a dog. And he was making chimeras, you know what I'm saying? He was making chimeras for the government. The government was mad at him because he couldn't make a chimera that could actually talk. And Alphonse and Ed, they were there. They actually supported them. They loved Nina, and they actually had appreciation for Show. And Show had some darkness in him. And you see him sitting in a dark room, and there's this dog, and the dog is talking. And the dog is saying it hurts. And we're like, what the world's going on? Right? And the dog says Edward. And I mean, I remember our college dorm room when this joint happened. Everybody, it was a collective gasp. We're like, no. Like ain't no, and they did like the anime split shot where they showed the what's the name of it? They showed Nina and they showed the dog sitting side by side.
Yeah.
And bruh. Heartbreak.
And he murdered his own child and turned her into a chimera. Good Lord.
And we were sitting there like looking at this, and I'm like, what would possess this man to do this? And that just became a thing that I thought about for years. And especially when they remade Brotherhood and you were able to kind of like relive through it again and watch the new generation gasp at the evil of Show Tucker and how he wasn't evil. He wasn't even the main villain, and people will still say he was the worst person in the show to this day. That dude is the worst person in that whole show. Forget all these other people, the pride, and I forget them. No. Show Tucker was a villain of this story because Show Tucker represented everything that's wrong with man. And this is this is where I learned my life lesson from Show Tucker. Show Tucker showed me that the persons that may smile in your face and may seem like they're trying to be good people are by nature, banality, they love evil, or it's ordinary. When somebody says something is banal, that means it's ordinary.
It's regular.
It's regular. Anna Arden, if you haven't read the Banality of Evil, it's a wonderful philosophical book about Adolf Eichmann. And Eichmann is a type of show, Tucker. Actually, I think Show was based on Eichmann, if I'm not mistaken, because Eichmann only job was to make sure that the gas chambers were fine-tuned. And he didn't have to kill anybody physically with his hands, but he had to make sure the machines did. And he was quite efficient at his job. He made sure all the machines worked, and he went home and ate with his family. And when the people in the court were asking him, he answered the questions very calmly, like Show Tucker did. And he was, I was doing my job. That's what Show Tucker showed. I was doing my job. And I was like, wow. Like, people can be that debased and evil with a smile on their face. You know this stuff is happening. But it was just very interesting actually being able to see it in an anime. I've not seen it done better than Show Tucker when it comes to that regard. Show Tucker is one of the most despicable characters I've ever seen written in anime. I mean, just
so
absolutely.
Regular. He's so regular. That's the thing.
He was a regular man. I mean, that's to me, that was the scary part, is that he was such an ordinary guy. And he was able to commit atrocities. You know what I'm saying? So like that's one of my guys. The other guy is a weird one. And I wonder if people even remember my dude, Chief Toto. I don't even know if people remember Chief Toto. Bubblegum Crisis, yo. Bubblegum Crisis, bruh. Do you remember Chief Toto?
Let's see here. I see there were two Bubblegum Crisis now.
Okay.
So there was the original Bubblegum Crisis that came out in '87, and then there was 2040. And I've watched both, but I think I actually owned some episodes. Actually, I think I owned the whole season at one point of 2040. Oh, I'm getting
so Toto was in 2033 and he was in OVAs.
Okay.
So Toto is a black man. He's a black man in Japan. So automatically I'm like, yo, what the world's going on? Like, he's the first black character I saw drawn in an actual anime. Chief Toto was from Chi-Town. Like this is their story. He was from the Chi, and he ended up going to Japan like right after one of the great earthquake that kind of set.
Yeah, he looked like Carl Winslow. That's right.
Yes, he looked like Carl Winslow. but the reason I really like this character, at least what really got me into his character when I was younger, was that he was a hard man. He was super hard. But there was a level of clarity of the situation that he always had. He was willing to break rules when the rules need to be broken so that people could be safe. He was willing to take the brunt of what authority would give him because he didn't follow the rules. And I thought that was very interesting for an actual chief character, and especially for a black character in anime, that they would be acquainted with breaking rules to make sure people were safe. You know what I'm saying? Because that was not the well, I think the main crew in Bubblegum Crisis, that's what they made. They cut their teeth on that. But the actual AD police, that was not their MO. They had lots of rules, but he was almost enabling Leon. Leon, he was enabling them to no, you can no. I didn't see nothing. That was one of his. I ain't see nothing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen
that. Is a really obscure character, sir. Good. Yeah. Well done.
I'm just saying, because I thought about that, Joe. I said, you know what? I remember my boy Toto, because Toto was just he played the background well, and he strengthened the characters in the show because he wanted to make sure they could get the job done.
Yeah. The girls wouldn't have been able to do their job without Chief Toto because
exactly.
they're using the hard suits was too controversial.
Exactly. And on top of that, there were only a few people on the AD really trained to use hard suits, but they had to be requisitioned. Like that wasn't just something you just did. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. Like he was willing to look the other way. He was kind of like a Commissioner Gordon in a sense, like a black Commissioner Gordon, because he understood the threat that was happening to the city. He realized that the way that he was doing it wasn't enough. And he was willing to he's like, I'm willing to let you break a few rules, but not to the point where you're just killing people. Because like he would reprimand you like that. Like, he ain't letting you go that far. But he would let you go far enough to like be able to break some boundaries to go and find the person that was doing stuff. You know, and I appreciated that about his character. So that's the other. The last one is actually from one of my favorite animes. It's actually it's a double whammy, but they're a unit, so it counts as one. Charles and Ray Beams from Eureka 7. You know, like, and the reason why is because I think, especially for Renton's character in Eureka 7, you know, being not well acquainted with his father, you know, growing up with just the legend of his daddy. Like he didn't really even get his daddy at all. You know, Ray and Charles, Ray being his wife, Charles being the man, of course. They came in with a shroud of mystery around them. You know, it was real quirky and weird, but they were lovable people. And I was like, this is strange, you know, that, but they love Renton. It blew my mind. How much they loved that. They loved that boy like he was one of their own. And Ray was broken because she couldn't have children because of the situation that happened with the quote unquote Summer of Love that's in Eureka 7, and that's I don't even feel like explaining that. Is all you have to explain the whole story to explain Summer of Love. I don't feel like doing it right now.
Renton's daddy created a situation where radiation shot out of the ground, and the radiation destroyed her womb and made her incapable of having children.
She was too close to it, and it like literally wrecked her whole body. Well, at least for reproduction, like she couldn't. And Charles still loved her so much. He said, I don't care if you can't have my children. I love you anyway.
Yes. He's a
great man. He was a good man. I mean, and he was actually a better man than most of the guys that were on, like Holland and them. They were not good men.
Look, they're murderers. They're terrorists.
Yeah, all of them were pretty much in a particular situation where they were spies, terrorists. Like, cause like we found out that Ray and Charles, the reason why they knew Holland, and I forget the girl name. I don't know if she'll pop in my head once this conversation is over. But why they knew each other is because they were all in the same organization.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and they were all in, I think it was called SOF, Special Ops Force, something like that. But yeah, like they were all in that thing together. And when the Summer of Love happened, they split because of the situation that happened with Ray. And it's funny because like just because like Record 7 is very music oriented.
Yeah.
They're actually named after Ray Charles.
Yep, Ray and Charles.
Yeah, Ray and Charles. You know what I'm saying? Ray Charles Beam. Beam.
They were not listening to soul music, though. That was not soul music. They
were not listening to soul music. It was some strange music. It was kind of lit, though. It was low-key lit. As weird as that is.
It was.
But yeah, because the Record 7 had lit music. That was one of the crowning things of that doggone anime. But yeah, like he was an eclectic guy. You know, and he died at the hands of one of the main guys. His name is Holland. He was one of the main guys, and he had a complicated story too, which you find out more about. You like, man, you kind of like really hate this guy the first half of the show. There's like 50 episodes. First 25 episodes, you kind of hate Holland because of how he acts, and then the last 25, you're like, dang, wow,
this is why he's like this. But I like how because of the incident with Ray and Charles, that was a catalyst because it was basically you had two groups of people that did not have an overt reason to oppose each other.
Exactly.
But because once they were able to find out, once Ray and Charles found out that Eureka was on their ship, and that was the reason, and that she was basically the reason why. The reason why that Ray did not have fertility, that lost her fertility, and that Renton was the son of the person who precipitated all that.
Yo, homie.
It's like the reason that we have the grief in our life is because of this. And so Now we have to go against them. We don't want to go against them. They were the home. Like we're looking at folks like this was our adopted son, and this was our former comrade. This these people are the homies, but we're now at odds. Yeah. And so as a result of that, Holland was actually able to step up and become the king he was supposed to become.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
as a result of that bout with Ray and Charles.
Yeah, I mean, but it was crazy. I mean, so Holland clapped Charles. Charles, on his dying breath, shot this sucker in the thigh. I thought it was so petty. It was so petty. He saw the gun was dropping, and Ray and Charles was like, "Oh, take this from right here straight to the thigh, though." And it was the right place in the thigh meat. It was the right place in the thigh meat that if there was nobody with blood that was the same as him, he was going to bleed out. He was going to bleed out.
It was amazing. The warrior spirit right there.
Dude, he was like, I will clap this sucker in the leg and you will bleed out. You're going to come with me. And the fact that they had contingency plans for each other where Ray kissed him. And it was a bomb she put in that sucker's mouth, man, to get away. That's what Charles would have wanted her to do.
Oh man.
He ended. I mean, this wonderful man
became spaghetti sauce.
Pretty much became a splatter in a doggone landing bay.
Like,
and then to turn this back around, you hear
Mrs. takes their song, remixes it, adds her own grief on top of it.
Own grief on it,
and then is controlling his mobile suit along with hers at the same time.
And she came back for blood, yo. And Renton, it was very disheartening because Renton is in love with Eureka, and Eureka is the cause of all these problems. But she's not the villain. Like it's a weird. That's the one reason I really love Eureka 7. It was like top of my list. She's she misunderstood, and so is he. But Renton has never really felt this type of love. He called Charles Papa.
He did, and he meant it.
And he meant it. You know what I'm saying? And he hugged that. I mean, Charles hugged that dude, and he said, "Remember this smell. This is the smell of your father."
Yep.
And Ray came back, and that's like mama, and he was like, please don't do this. And she said, son, you're bewitched by this girl, but don't you worry. Mama's on the way. I was like, oh my God.
And they also once they realized who he was, the smartest thing to do would have been to kill Renton.
Yes.
If you kill him or take him hostage.
Yes.
In which case they would have they would have been able to deal with Holland immediately.
Yes.
In the situation, but they were like, no,
they refused.
We know that if we let him go, he's going to go back. He's going to snitch, and then he's also, because of that girl, he's going to take their side.
Yep.
So that means that when we see our son next, he's going to be our enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and like, so because like Ray broke down when they let him out, when they let Renton out the hatch to go back.
They did. It's crazy. It's crazy when you said that. I saw her. I could see it in my head with her crying in Charles' chest.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't want him. I mean, they would have been a happy family. Like Charles and Ray were absolutely satisfied with being the family that Renton always wanted.
Yeah.
And is to me the thing I learned from them is the sting of revenge and how dangerous it can be. The bitterness that Ray and Charles had towards the event known as the Summer of Love, and towards the Thurston family, and towards Eureka, which they didn't know at the time, but they found out later on, led them down a path where they gave up everything that could have actually made them content. They had Renton, which is a son they wish they always had. They had each other. They were both in good standing. They were both able to do like low risk jobs and still get money. You know what I'm saying? They were both also war heroes.
And they made music that they loved. They knew how to cook.
Yeah.
They had already accumulated their own wealth, so they had everything they needed.
They were fine. You know what I'm saying? They were absolutely fine, and because of the situation, they just threw it away. And it was because of revenge. Because Ray would just hold her stomach, man, and that would set Charles off. I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, she's like,
I can have, like, with my wife, have we've struggled as a family with infertility as well, and so I feel like I felt a certain way before I got married and I watched Eureka 7, and now I feel it differently now watching it and on a different side of life, knowing the pain that we've gone through in terms of trying to conceive and have children and stuff like that. And so that hits a whole different way. I relate to them. I've like in a different galaxy, in a different set of circumstances with different choices made, I could have just as easily, like the two of us could have just as easily been them. We've certainly been angry enough and jealous enough when folks have kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I totally relate that. That's a good pick there.
You know, and on the end that though, you know, the way that Rey died, you know, she went for the kamikaze attack. They shot her. You know, Renton's begging them not to kill her, and they clap her anyway. You know, and the ship is exploding, and because of the explosion, her arm was severed. And this is gonna seem dark, but this is like the whole point of like why revenge is just not a good story to end your life on. Her arm is severed, and it's her left hand. It's the hand with her wedding ring on it, and it's the only thing she has left to remind her of her husband that just died. And she's crawling, and the end, her whole end is her crawling towards her severed arm with the wedding ring on it, clutching it, and the whole plane explodes. And I was like, God dang, man. I mean that joint hurt because I love the characters. I love them. Yeah. The character design of Rey is probably one of the dopest female designs I've seen. She had like a mixture between like Lupin, One Piece, and because like the style of at least the art style of Eureka 7 to me is very blended.
It's very blended. But the two of them were definitely
they were so different.
They were different. They were stylists. Yeah. They were drawn stylistically differently than any of the other characters in the show.
Like they actually had like flair to them. You know, like they had like a 70s vibe to them. The like the way that they look. You know, like Charles had like these frill shirts on, and Rey had bell bottoms. You know, so she always wore like a bodysuit with bell bottom. You know, pants. It was very interesting. Like the characters were very interesting. But yeah, those are my three. You know, like the ones that like left an indelible impact on me. While growing up and watching anime. And they were like characters that were not main characters. They were passerby characters. We all chose passerby characters that you wouldn't really consider outside of heroes and stuff like that. So question number 6, the final one. What area do you think there's room to grow in anime character development? It's a hard one. It's a hard one, yo. I mean, so I thought about this. I was like, dang, I'd ask myself a hard question. Because like once again, because we've touched on how they've done such a good job with multiple you know what, let me rephrase that. Let's say for this generation, I think that's a little bit easier to deal with because like past wise they have like knocked the sucker out of the doggone ballpark, but lately it's been a little weird. It's been a little strange.
I would say that you would have to have the bravery to back away from fan service, like the only having that, and to not let fan service have the last word. The only thing I can think of where fan service has been useful, and I know you have your own personal history with a platform that has changed streaming, but actually it's sort of an architect for modern streaming right now is like Crunchyroll, and I know that you have your own art with that platform.
Well, no, I mean, but the only reason I have art with it, which we both understand, I mean, like I think we both agree, this wasn't Shinji's dream.
No, it wasn't.
You know, so for people that don't know, me and Julian are original contributors.
Yes, we were on the original.
Like, I'm talking about like I got badges. Like I mean, like, and the people are badges. We have badges. If I think your account is still active.
Yeah, it's still.
We have badges because in the very beginning, Shinji was just a guy who loved anime, and he's had a dream that if he could find a way to get anime to the West, that the West would actually love it. Yeah. I have a badge from 2007 May, because remember he gave them out monthly for people who were contributing to the donate and stuff like that. This is before there was a premium, before they ruined it. But this is like when it was actually a communal build. It was more like a Kickstarter for anime, like to put it in modern terms.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I got the Nana badge from May 27 or 2007. I'm looking at it right now. I got a Nana badge from May. Death Note badge for 2007, Kenshin badge from November 2007, Claire badge from 2007. I got the Full Metal Panic, Full Metal Panic badge 2007. I got the days the school days from 2007, Shinji from 2008, Ray from 2007, Rock Lee from 2007. I got plenty of badges to prove that I'm not lying to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we are original contributors to the dream of what Crunchyroll was supposed to be, and he was bought. And he lost thousands of anime. You remember how much anime was on? You remember that, Drew?
Yeah,
how
it
much
was a
anime
big selection.
On now, their selection is a eighth of that selection.
Oh, what it used to be, and they helped. They actually, I remember when they got so big because they had a whole lot of drama on there as well. They have some drama, but not nearly as much as they used to.
Yes,
that actually spun off into Drama Fever. Drama Fever came into existence because they realized they had competing interests.
Yep.
With having so much drama and so much anime, so they tried to give the drama its own platform. One of the problems that they had, I don't know how much of a role the acquisition played. I'm sure the acquisition played a lot of role with that, but they were too afraid to get rid of the grandfather pricing. I was one of the grandfather price people on Drama Fever, to where you spent $11.99 to have a year of full access.
Yes.
And then so they didn't want to bump the price up to be monthly.
Yep.
And so I was one of those people. I stayed on until I stayed on the $11.95 a year until Drama Fever shut down.
Yeah,
because I don't. It's like, what sense? What's like, if I'm paying $11 a year, why in the world would I want to go to paying $11 monthly? I got that. I didn't have it at the time. So, but even though I know you have aught with Crunchyroll, the two best things I've seen come from specifically from fan service. With that, because I feel like fan service is overdone when you let the fans dictate what all happens on a show.
Yeah.
And then when you bring characters back, like we've mentioned on the previous episode about, the trashness of Dragon Ball and Goku keep coming back all the time.
Yeah,
it was as a result of that. But some of the best examples of fan service and the positive, effective fan service, I would say, is probably Tower of God.
Tower of God. Yeah.
It getting an anime, that's fan service, because the fans were demanding it, but there were no studios that wanted to pick it up. So Webtoon was able to partner with Crunchyroll in order to bring that to light. So I respect that. That's an example of where fan service, and then like the God of High School. That's another example of where
was that. Oh my goodness, the manga for that, man. Oh, it's so good. That's a Korean manga. So that, and I mean, if that
they both are. They're both.
Like, but I know God of High School is prolific. I mean, like as far as and that gives me hope that the Breaker New Wave, and Sunken Rock might actually get picked up. If those get picked up, every anime you watch is gonna look like trash. And I say that with the utmost confidence. Like, those things are so good, and they're based in a realistic world. They're so good that they will literally put you. They're like, I don't even feel like watching these other folk. They're that good. So I'm hoping that Webtoons actually kind of pulls that out. This is like, to me, it's Crunchyroll's like last steam, because they have like what's the name of that Verve? Whatever, I think it was like a VO, like whatever the name of the thing is. It's like Verve or something like that they were trying out, and that's trash. It's like, and then they try to do like fund their own, and I'm like, no, like, fund the ones of people who actually got talent. Tower of God and God of High School were written by talented people.
Black Fox too. Black Fox is excellent.
Yeah, Black Fox is good too. You know what I'm saying? Once again, that's not their own stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The stuff made from American people from CalArt. I don't want nothing from them. I don't want no anime from nobody doing CalArt. No offense. Just no. Don't do that to me. I want anime from people who actually care about anime. So, not just getting a profit. I mean, I don't mind you making money, and there's no beef with that, but there's no soul in Crunchyroll as much anymore. Like the soul of it left when Shinji left. When it just became a shameless plug for marketplace toys. I was like, that's it's industry, I get it, but it's like, I was like, man, you guys fell a long way. That dude had, I think it was close to 10,000 different series of anime. And it was reduced to like around 800. And I think we're still in that same range right now. They haven't really added much to this onto the site back. You remember EP Drama?
I do. And Disney's Disney's like on the come up now with its anime selection via Hulu. Like
Yeah,
they're making big.
Hulu is pulling in weight. Cause like on like Funimation and Crunchyroll are complicit in like really like kind of gatekeeping good anime from people. That's why the spawn sites like Anime Freak and Kiss Anime exists, is because they're kind of the resistance to like the normal rule. You know what I'm saying? Like because they actually give you all the anime versus them giving you it's Shinji's dream. That was his dream, was to be able to have all that, and he was paid off. I can't knock it. He got lots of dough, but it was also because he was doing illegal activity to get us anime. So props to the homie Shinji, because he the one who started this.
Yep, he was one of the early, like if we're talking about like streaming and then simulcasting and stuff like that. He was one of the early, but like this was like when Shinji went back in 2007 when Shinji was doing his stuff. Netflix was still DVD.
It was.
By DVD by mail.
It was.
It was still mail. DVD by mail when like so. Shinji was, and we're talking about like clean streaming. We're talking about like where you can turn subtitles on and off. You can't do that with Crunchyroll anymore.
You can't.
So like he was Shinji was a visionary. He was looking way ahead of the curve. So before you had an Amazon Prime, before you had Netflix streaming content, before you had a Hulu, like he was basically taking stuff that was illegitimate, like on Daily Motion and Vivo and all those other. He was taking illegitimate
suburbs.
Yeah,
having all the suburbs. You know, the Data Bio is, and the reason why we even are able to say that name is because of Shinji. Shinji put Data Bio on the map. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that to me is crazy. Like that dude dubbed. He subbed every single Naruto episode for us back in the day.
Yep,
every single one. You know, like if we had like Drew was saying, we had a full on selection of dramas. I watched Honey Ridongo, KSA. You know, there's so many that we watched back in the day. I can't call them all off the top of the dome, but there was so many that Homeboy actually gave us. So, but yeah, I mean, like you're right as far as that with Tower of God and God of High School. Props to them for actually putting on fan service. I do believe that's good. I think the one thing that they have an area to grow in is pulling back away from Western themes. Because a lot of the stuff that we've seen lately has been very Westernized, which to me kind of downplays the strength of how they actually draw their characters. You know, I think the best one they've done is actually Boku no Hero. Boku no Hero is their best shot, the best bullet they got in the chamber of tackling Eastern and Western like philosophies on hero and on heroes together in one. But there's not. There are lots of others that have failed. So you know what I'm saying, there's not many of them that have actually done well. So I think that there's been a very good job. I mean, at least I think for the past, it's a very good job of them finding a way of balancing their themes on how they want to write their heroes without the West. And now, because the world's been so globalized, there's been too many themes that have been dominated by Western thought, which I think that needs to be decreased, because we need some diversity in thought. We don't need everybody thinking like America. Just being real about the situation. We don't need everybody thinking like America, because then we have a very boring world. There's a bunch of cut and dry situations where people don't really know how to resolve their own issues. I don't think I want to watch that. So yeah, but I think that's the major things that I can think of that they would actually grow in development, is just pulling back away from Western themes and going kind of back to their roots and getting back into like the groove of being super creative. Because I've seen a lot of science anime pop up.
Yeah.
And I don't got no beef with that, but I know for them, a lot of the conventions of science they would appreciate, but they have enough wherewithal in their culture to understand that there's a problem with the way that people have perceived science, because science dropped bombs on their country. So a lot of the skepticism, even though because we had some of the smartest scientists and mathematicians coming from China and Japan. So that doesn't mean that they don't understand the quality of it, but I think that also they understood the nuance of like being as learned without a conscience. You know, like so that's a thing that I think in the future that if they were really going to just dig down deep, get back into their roots with in the Eastern philosophy of the way that life is, and challenge people in the West. That's why I like Rise of Shiro here, because Rise of Shiro is doggone Eastern.
It is.
It's so Eastern because they confronted a issue it was very, very controversial in America. It's like right in the peak of the Me Too movement. And they give you an anime about a guy who actually got accused of rape and was innocent.
They did.
You know,
and that princess, she's horrible.
Oh, yo, she was trash, yo.
And she's unrepentant. Like,
she was.
She's like she did not change. She didn't grow. She didn't learn nothing.
No, she didn't want. I mean, she didn't have to. You know, she's a Karen. You know, like she was a prototypical Karen character. You know, she's a type that like she can say whatever she wants, get away with what she want to get away with, and she had no consequences. She's a perfect Karen in anime. If you want a Karen, look to that. Look to that anime. That's probably the new school version of Karen that you will ever meet. But yeah, like she had no consequences, and when she was finally confronted with consequences, you know, she didn't know how to deal with it. Her or her daddy, who enabled her.
What having their legal names changed to something disgraceful.
Oh my goodness, dude!
They were about to be sentenced to death, but
yeah,
Naofumi saved them.
Yeah, Naofumi was like, nah, pimp, nah, you don't get off that easy. You know, I was like, Tahoe, yo, it was great. I mean, like, so it was great. Like, so I'm not a big fan of Black Clover because Black Clover to me feels very, very Western. You know, that's like that's no shade towards it. It's just not for me. Mm-hmm. That's not for me. I mean, like when I watch it, I'm like, I'm sorry. I smell the West on this thing too much. You know, it just immediately turns me away. I'm like, nah, I don't want it. Boruto smells like the West. You know, yeah, no, it smells like the West, man. I was like, I don't want this. This is not what you're good at.
It's an American fan's interpretation of how Naruto should have gone. That's what it is.
Exactly. And that's why it's trash. Because this boy being disrespectful to his daddy and then making Naruto a deadbeat daddy on top of that. Even if you had some themes about Naruto that really don't make sense, or like after you look at the whole grand scheme of things, it just doesn't really pan out. There's one thing that you know for sure, that Naruto really did love family ideals because he never had one. So giving him one and letting him be a deadbeat daddy is like, it's like with Aang, same thing with Aang, Avatar Aang, is an absolute egregious offense to the character. It is. You know, so like stuff like that, I was like, this is wrong. You know, like that's, and it's not working for them. Yeah, but like I said, fan service on tone, like actually tone it down and find a way to actually find the right things that fans have been asking for and get into it. Digging back into their roots, into their Eastern mythologies and the Eastern ways, and decreasing on Western theology. Western, actually, it's kind of theology too, and themes and stuff like that. Pulling back from that and dealing with the world that they had, and not being so globalized would be a great benefit to the craft. Because if you notice this, right, Drew? You notice how few dramas that Japan makes now.
Yeah, I mean, there's I would say the global market for it is not there.
Well, not for theirs, because Korea, not for theirs. Yeah, Korea killing the game, yo.
So, but I mean, nobody really people I feel like Netflix, in terms of making it global, Netflix sort of has Japan is their premier outlet for getting it out into the world right now. And they're not popping out many. They're popping out.
They're not
a few here and a few there. It's they've been focusing mostly on movies.
Yeah,
and trying to make movies instead of prepaying for a series that is not clear whether someone's going to watch it or not, or even like it or not.
Yeah,
and then scaling back from drama to just doubling down on variety shows and stuff like that. Which, you know, the Japanese variety shows is a particular type of television, and it's not for everybody. It's I would say it's way more cultural and more difficult to understand. Yeah, Japanese stand-up and Japanese variety shows than dramas tend to be. There's less universal themes. It's super Japanese.
It is. I mean, like when you go back to like the early 2000s when we were dealing with a lot of the dramas and stuff that were coming in were actually from manga. You know, Honey Yuri Dango is from manga. What's the name of the joint? It started with a kiss.
Iswak and Hanakimi.
Yeah, Hanakimi. Started all those were manga. You know, like those were manga that were written like in the early 90s, late 80s. That they were like, let's just go ahead and just do this thing. And that was a boom of dramas was in that particular era, and it was great. You know, but then after that, man, it just fell through the floor. You know, like it was very strange. You know, like but Korea, man. Korea and China, man, they're doing some of the best work I've ever seen them doing drama. I mean, I'll throw a strong recommendation for anybody that wants to watch drama to get Viki on Rakuten. Like, just go ahead and get it. It's $10 a month. It works on every single streaming device. It works on Roku. We watch it on Amazon Fire Stick as well. It works on all of it, right? And it's so good because they give you they don't Netflix you, where they give you like the broken subtitles. These are actually like done by people from their own countries that are here. And so the subtitles are clean, so clean. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, and it's so enjoyable. But I'm watching a couple of dramas right now. One of them is actually an old one. But the one that really hit me is one that's called The Longest Day in Chang'an. Bruh. One of the most fire dramas I've ever watched. And it's a 24-hour day drama. Hey, the drama is based in a whole day. One full day, and it starts you at like 9 o'clock in the morning and it ends at like 9 o'clock the next morning. It is gangster. But I mean, it's one. It got a lot of screenplay in China because it's a Chinese drama. But over here, you know, it's gotten like 10s for people over here. I gave it a 10. Yeah. It's probably one of the best dramas I watched in a while. Thematically, story-wise, pacing, everything in the thing is absolutely great. And it was like 48 episodes. Well worth the doggone watch. But you know, I'm telling you, you know, there's like even though with the drama side, you know, it's different. Anime still has it's a long way to go as far as like being really a part of like really being a fundamental part of what people are fully doing. Like right now, I think we got a lot of fan people. Then I don't think that there's a lot of people that actually really enjoy anime. I think some people are just in it because it's popular. Like anything that's popular, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I said, the cosplay phenomenon, as cute as that is to a lot of people. I've been looking at some folks, I'm like, I know you don't like anime. Take your behind home. You know, it's like it's more of like the guy who dresses up as the scantily clad character from a comic book, but don't know who that character is. It's the same situation. You know, I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, but still, if you cosplay and you actually are a fan, do what you do. I appreciate you for actually like liking the craft and trying to figure out a way of doing that. But for folk that ain't fans and y'all just trying to sneak in the back door, forget y'all. Forget y'all. So that's my take, and hopefully if it offends you, I'm not apologizing because I truly do believe that. Back up, watch an actual good anime. Watch an anime that ain't Dragon Ball and that ain't Naruto, and come back and talk to me. But we're gonna end it here.
Bet.
You know, is there any parting words you gotta add, bro?
Nah, just, you know, thanks for having me on. It was a fun conversation. This was medicine for me. I appreciate it. Get to be a black nerd every now and then.
Exactly, man. Blurs for life, man. They ain't going nowhere. I mean, like it's actually getting worse. Because stuff is starting to like these themes, they hit you so hard. Now as you get older, you're like, yo, I didn't even think that was you getting to think about this stuff now. So I hope that as everybody is jumping on these, I appreciate you too, brother, man. Thank you for actually jumping on with me and for talking with me. We don't get to chop it up about anime a whole lot, you know, but I love when we get to chop it up. But for anybody else that's out there that is a blurred or a nerd, I don't care if you're black, white, Latino, whatever. If you love anime, you know what I'm saying, and you're weird, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like embrace it, and don't let other folk kind of come in and steal your space saying that they fans and you know they ain't no fans. Confront them. I ain't talking about physically, but quiz them. See if they know some things. You know what I'm saying? Have them solve some enigmas. You know about anime. You know what I'm saying? Like have them put them up to the test, bro. But like I said, we'll catch you again with another episode. We got a few other ones coming out very soon. We have another One Piece with me and Ice. I'm gonna do another walkthrough with themes on that. We have a very interesting episode coming up. It's gonna be when we're sitting down with an economist, a young black economist, and we're gonna talk about black leadership and money. We're gonna do that. There's gonna also be another one where we deal with next gen because Xbox talks about they have their presentation next week on the 21st. And we are going to actually go ahead and do some predictions before that happens. So you will get the episode before the presentation of the new Xbox is to see if we actually did anything right. But until then, thank you guys for being on. Solve those enigmas. Do not leave them unsolved. There are people waiting on you to figure things out, and do not let them wait too long. Thank you guys for listening to Enigmas Unchained. If you like what you heard, please follow us on Apple and Google Podcasts by looking up Enigmas Unchained. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Enigmas Unchained, as well as on Facebook by searching our name. Thank you guys for having us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Solve those enigmas. Don't leave them unsolved.